you. I'm really delighted to be here with you. I've been here all day, and it's just been wonderful for me to be here. I do want to see the people from St. Peter's in Cleveland, because I'm originally from Cleveland, so I would like to talk to you wherever you are.
Where are they?
Okay, they're scattered around. I've been working at Network for the past 10 years here in Washington, and our full name is Network, a National Catholic Social Justice Lobby. A lobby. What do you think when you hear the word lobby? Lobbyists. There was actually a really good article in Newsweek a couple weeks back about the lobbyists for hire and the good advocates. I like to think that we're in that second group of good advocates. And I've been pleasantly surprised here in my time in Washington how many other organizations there are, faith groups and secular groups, who are not lobbyists with a lot of money, but lobbyists with a lot of conscience. So we've been around since 1971. A lot of good things happened in the 70s. The formation of Network was one of them. We're a membership organization. Now, that we have some members in our audience. Anybody Network members out there? Anybody? Okay, so this will be a review for a lot of you. And actually, I'd like to let you talk and say why you're a Network member, but maybe we'll do that at another time. We do have lobbyists that we lobby Congress for legislation at the federal level, and we have a couple of full-time lobbyists on our staff. And what we find is because we're a membership organization, and our members are lobbying their members of Congress as constituents, while our lobbyists are lobbying in Washington in person, that's a very effective way to do it. My job is the field coordinator, which means I get the information out to our members. A lot of you probably get my emails, and it's nice to see the people on the other end of those emails. So when our lobbyists go into an office and start to talk, they say, oh yeah, we've been hearing from you. We know about you. We've been hearing from your members. So it's a really good thing to have lobbying in both directions like that. Our mission is we educate, lobby, and organize for social justice and social transformation. But I like to think of our mission as engaging people in the democratic process. We don't want to just be up there ourselves lobbying, we want to engage other people as constituent lobbyists, because that's really a lot more powerful. And I was really pleasantly surprised today when I got my folder, and there's this little paper in there about Eucharist and Christian community, Edward Schillebeck. I don't know if you read this yet. But let me read you one line in there. Near the end, it says, leadership or authority can only be exercised meaningfully and appear in changed forms if both the people and their office bearers have reached a sufficient level of consciousness. It is not possible to ask the highest authority in a world church to change the prevailing order in that church if the change does not meet with the approval of the majority of Christian communities. I'd like to read that last sentence again and change it a little bit. It is not possible to ask the highest authority in government to change the prevailing order if that change does not meet with the approval of its citizens. So I think what Network is trying to do is the same thing that intentional Eucharistic communities are trying to do. What you're trying to do is bring change from the bottom up in the church, and we're trying to do that in our government, in the political society. One of my co-workers, Stephanie Meagerhouse, is here today. She's part of the intentional Christian community. So we were talking about this gathering, and as we were talking, we realized that maybe there's some parallels. Network, our organization, was started by women religious in the 1970s. A lot of the intentional Eucharistic communities were started in the 1970s. We are not associated with the hierarchical church. We're completely independent. A lot of you, I think, see yourselves that way. And we, at Network, kind of see ourselves as the people's Catholic movement. And we have some freedom and some flexibility, and we can make decisions faster than the hierarchical church can, and we can be a little bit countercultural. So I hope you'll see us as part of you. We use as the basis for our lobbying Catholic social teaching, and we try to apply those principles: human dignity, solidarity, concern for people who are poor, and the common good, and care for creation, to legislation that we look at and analyze. And the legislation that we look at, the issues that we look at, come from our membership. They're the issues that are of concern of our membership. And for this year, probably for the next 2 years, or maybe longer, the top 5 issues are, the first one is economic justice. The economy is, of course, of great concern to everybody in the country right now. And we look at the economy from both the domestic view and also from the global view. So, for example, from the domestic economy, we did a lot of lobbying on the Stimulus Act, the Economic Recovery Act, to make sure that there were unemployment benefits continued and extended, that there were food stamps extended, that people, there's been a lot of talk about homeowners and housing and mortgages and all that, but we're concerned about people who don't own their own homes, people who rent their houses. There's crisis there too. So we kind of call those maybe safety net issues. We want issues, economic issues that primarily affect people who are vulnerable. And then the same thing in the global environment. We work on global trade issues that affect both people in the United States and certainly people in developing countries. Immigration reform is a big issue for us. Healthcare is a big issue, and it's really heating up this summer. And peace building, peacemaking, peace building, we did some lobbying on the issue of Iraq, and our lobbying wasn't so much keep the troops there, bring the troops home, but let's look at what the Iraqis need. And so we lobbied to get money for development for Iraqi institutions to employ Iraqis and rebuild Iraq, and also for the millions of refugees and internally displaced people in Iraq to do something for them. So that was our niche on Iraq. And then ecology. That's kind of integrated in a lot of other things that we do. So the ways that we do that are, we have our magazine, and by the way, we have a table outside if anybody hasn't seen that yet, where you can pick up copies of our magazine. We do email alerts, and you can sign up for those at our table if you want to, on legislation that's coming up, and we give you some suggested things to say to your member of Congress and give you some background on the issue. And then we do education. We'll do things like this, and we'll do workshops on either issues or Catholic social teaching or how to lobby. We do things like that. We also have an associate program, and we have people come into our office and do shorter-term internships. So if you're interested in that, then let me know. And I just want to say we also work in coalition on a lot of these issues that I talked about with other faith groups and secular groups in Washington. So I think I'll stop there, and then we'll get to the questions. If anybody's got questions on those kind of things, we can talk about that. There was one thing I wanted to mention. I mentioned we were started by one religious in 1971, and we're independent from the hierarchy. There was a story that the first couple women religious had their bank, they wanted to open a bank account for a network. So they went to the bank, and the banker told them that they had to have the signature of a bishop. So they said, no, thank you, we will take our $187 somewhere else.